What's up, guys, and welcome to Soul Kitchen, episode 7, I think. We lost track now. I think it's been 4 months since we had a recording. Life gets in the way. So, yeah, we're here, and I think this is our favorite time of the year, wherein we start looking back and seeing all our horrible financial decisions.
It's the worst support sneaker group in the world, as
Yep.
Lawson would say. So yeah.
And pretty much go through what's been happening in the industry, the sneaker drops, our pickups, and how we've changed as well throughout the year. Today we have two of our regulars. We have Oliver Winfrey, Oliver Phommavanh. Sorry, it's been a while, so we're gonna be.
That's all right. That's my social
us.
on IG, so it makes sense. That's all right.
And we have Julian Pounds, kicks _ and _ trace.
You gotta. It's been a minute.
Yeah, at least I didn't trip up on that one, right?
It's been a while, but it's good to be back.
Cool. And then I think let's go over through the tradition of the show. What's been your latest pickup, boys? Let's start with you, Ollie.
Yeah. So I've got some Adidas love, of course, being the three stripes man of the gang. So this is the Simpsons Forum Low that is based on the living room. So they had a really cool capsule based on like the opening credits of The Simpsons, and this one really grabbed my eye because I love that sort of bubblegum pink, and that kind of teal has a nice nod. And there's some features that like Simpsons fans would know as well, which is very, very cool. But it's very cartoony and my kind of jam. So that came out this week. And I managed to get finally the House Studios Bella Samba. So very, very neat.
One of 300?
One of 300. Managed to like click at 10 p.m. at the right time, at the right moment. Bang, bang. It was, pretty clean. I must admit though, when I got these in hand, they were quite heavy. And I figured, I don't know, like they look a little bit... it's a black and white Samba. It's like literally like the panda of 2023. But when I put these on, like it just got like looks. It just looks so nice on feet. So I get why it's really sort of like become the everyday sneaker for a lot of people. And I think how did they mark on it? Like I wish they did just a little bit more, but maybe this was a prototype, and it felt like how kind of rushed this release through. And fingers crossed they'll actually have some proper time to release like another Samba, but have way more like input into it. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Nice. Is that all, Ollie?
Yeah, that's it for this week. So yeah.
For this week, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's still a few more to come this year. Funny enough, especially based on one of the toys behind me there, Powerpuff Girls. So
Yeah,
forward to
I'm
that.
sure you're looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you, JP?
So I'll probably shock some of the people who know me and what I'm going to show now. It's not really a shock, but it's not. It's a Nike. So some April skate stores. Dope pair. When I saw it, I love these colors, the turbo green, and just the meaning behind it. Obviously, an Aussie pro skater with his skate brand. So the story behind these is a good friend. He was lucky enough to cop 2 on the Fast Times raffle, so I got a retail assist from him. Size
For a 13 as well.
size
hey.
14 these ones. So
14.
So it's been
Wow.
okay with 14s,
Crazy.
but so his 2 of his friends, a friend and his wife, entered for the first time in Fast Times, and they both copped on their first entry. So
That's how they reeled them in.
the first time.
That's a unicorn win, man. Size 14. That might be the only size 14 in Australia, I reckon. That's crazy.
Those two.
I think there's one more. I think
Yeah.
Igor from down Tasmania actually copped a size 14 as well. But
Nice.
yeah, I don't know if some people like it's who you know sometimes, but these are really nice. Like all the materials are really cool. Like the tongue's a little bit different. It's kind of like it's hard to explain. It's like got a material over the top of the mesh. It has all these little Easter eggs in it. So you got this like all the details behind the tongue, like the established date, and you got Nike and obviously April. I kind of feel it's in the top 3 SBs of the year for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
SB's been killing it this year.
Yeah.
Silhouette of
Lots
the year, I
good
reckon.
drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that it, JP?
I'll show another one.
Yeah. It can't be just one with you.
Yeah.
So the other one's this one. So
Ah, nice.
2013 Kith Nix collaboration with ASICS July 3. I found it on one of our Big Feet groups. We got like an invite only one. Worn once, immaculate condition, everything, box and everything for release, still of a price. Apparently there's only 2,000 of these released back in 2013, because Kith wasn't as big as they were 10 years ago. So yeah, it's a bit of an addiction at the moment, trying to cop all the older pairs like Kith.
Wow.
So.
That's also been the trend this year, I think, like all going back
Yeah.
a few years back. Cool. For me, I have the same one as Ollie. I have the HAL Velo Samba as well. Now I missed out on this, but luckily enough, one of my mates messaged me and he said he's got it, and he redirected it to me. And I was a little bit anxious because it's coming from HAL, and I've had bad experience in terms of like shipping times with them. So yeah, because it wasn't updating for a long time. But yeah, I thought it was just a redirect, but yeah. I think one thing to add on this one is like the materials, and I don't know if it's just the Velo Samba because it's a cycling sneakers. I don't know if there's a certain level of material that it has to have because you're gonna be using it to pedal, but the material's really amazing. The padding and everything, the inner lining is like leather as well. So yeah, I think it's a really good sneakers. I don't get why it has to be just 300 pairs. Like that decision, I don't understand. But I think Adidas is probably gambling with HAL as well, given that this is like for clipless cycling. So yeah, maybe that's why they decided to do it for 300.
Yeah.
I think they're aiming for it to go to cyclists, really, and obviously sneakerheads will try and grab them.
Yeah, maybe just
Yeah.
in the water.
Idiots like us, yeah.
Gatekeeping the poor cyclists.
Yep, pretty
Wanting
much.
to cop it.
And then my second cop is the Keith Clark's Samba. I mentioned this in our chat group. This looks like it was crafted by Clark's using the Adidas silhouette. It's just different. The materials are different. Also, the inline is leather as well. Very nice material, and it just looks great as well. Like I think the concept really works for this one. I need the Christmas pair.
Yeah,
So
me too.
Hopefully they drop that soon and I hit that. And yeah, that's it for me. Just 2 pairs. And moving on, as I've said at the beginning of the show, it's that time of the year and everyone has been putting out their top 10 lists. One of the most prominent outlet had a panel at ComplexCon wherein they discussed the sneaker of the year. I want to hear your opinions. I mean, Ollie told me that he watched a little bit of it. I don't know if you watched the whole thing, JT.
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing on the way back home.
I did as well. I have a lot to say about how they're doing it, but maybe let's start with you, Ollie. What do you think about? Well, before we do that, let's go through their top 10, right?
Yeah.
And then let's validate what we think about what they deem as the top sneakers of the year. Sorry, just I have a list here. All right, at number 10 we have the Terror Squad Air Force One. Do you guys think that should belong to the top 10? Ollie?
I think that's probably the first issue with that panel. Like it felt heavily into like I don't know. Like I read the comments and like apparently it's leaning towards more like the East Coast, West Coast kind of vibes and like into like rappers and who you know. So I guess keep that in the context. So maybe that's what ComplexCon is all about, I suppose. And the panel reflected that. I respect the storytelling behind it. Like it was a famous like personal pair. The story behind it was really cool, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was a top 10 sneaker. I think there were way better Air Force Ones, and there were a couple more on that list, but I would have had more other Air Force Ones on that list on top of the Terror Squads for me.
What about you, JP?
Yeah. So as part of the pod, the top 10, they actually did say that last year was too New York City centric. So
Yep.
I kind of agree. The people they chose are very, except for one, are very old school. The way they think about sort of Nikes. A lot of them weren't really open. They didn't seem open to other brands. Like there was only one out of the panel, who actually brought up like J-tips. But yeah, I agree. I think
Well, DJ Clark, right, was the one that we were talking about. Wherein he's not really. I think he's a Nike shill.
Yeah.
Because everything that comes out of his mouth is Nike.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, it's
JP.
alright. He's got like obviously relationships with people at Nike, so obviously he has to show his he's got lots of nostalgia towards him, and he's had lots of pairs made by Nike in the past. But yeah, I kind of feel that if you're going to choose the Air Force One, it can't be a remake, a retro of an older pair, and I kind of feel there's other pairs in the list as well that kind of shouldn't have been there, because there was a lot, as they were saying, there was a lot better pairs that could be put ahead of them. And I kind of feel they kept on pushing the Terror Squad up because Fat Joe, they know Fat Joe, and it was that nostalgia that they've had towards it, and they've never had an opportunity to buy that shoe in the past.
You're pausing a little bit for me, JP.
I'll slow down.
Is it happening to you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it happening for you too, Ollie?
Yeah.
No, I'm fine. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
probably just me.
nobody in the past has had the opportunity to buy a Terror Squad collaboration. I kind of feel that was a huge input towards that.
Yeah.
But I feel that there were probably 20 better pairs that could have been put ahead of that.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest problem of that panel. I feel like, and to be fair, right? Like the people on the panel didn't come up with the list. It was Complex first, and then they were asked about their opinion on it. So I think Complex wise, they have issues as well on like how they came up with this top 10. But the panel themselves as well, I feel like Lil Yachty in there talking about friends and family pairs is just ridiculous.
He was
Bringing
just
up
flexing,
those pairs,
like,
it's not.
typical
Yeah,
rapper flex.
And-
Yeah.
it's not. It's that's not what it's about. So
Yeah. And Clark trying to push his own shoe that there was 300 made, and he said it's a
300 made and probably invite only too.
well, that's right. And he said that there were only a small handful of people who on Instagram were able to actually put a reason why they wanted the shoes, and he chose them. And I don't think that's the real meaning behind sneakers, that somebody should gatekeep and choose who gets the sneakers.
Yeah.
And that's probably a reason why it didn't get the top 10. But
Yeah, like he was trying to justify that that's a proper release, but that's not a proper release.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So yeah, for me, I don't agree with the Terror Squad. I just don't think, like you guys, there are more better sneakers. And look, I'm just gonna quickly run through the list, right? So we have the Terror Squad, we have the Nocta Glides, we have the Baklava, the AJ1 Low Travis Scott Olives, 860 V2. We have the J3 Balvin, AF1 Tiffany, Cortez Air Max 95. We have the AJ3 White Cement and AJ4 SB, right? I can't imagine a top 10 list without Asics and Adidas on it. Like if you're not putting those two brands in there, regardless of like how strong they are for this year, it's I don't think it's a valid list. And from there you can see agenda on that list.
yeah.
So yeah. All right, moving on. Nocta Glides. What do you guys think? And it beat the Terror Squad as well. Like I kind of agree with their argument. Like when they were asking question, is this better than the Terror Squad? Like if something's gonna be put on the top 10, I kind of agree with them. Wherein, yeah, Terror Squad would rank higher than the Nocta Glides. What do you think, Ollie?
Well, I actually own a lot of like Drake sneakers because I'm a big Drake fan. I own a lot of the Noctas, and I've sold like the common pair in exchange for like the hyper pair. So I traded in my hot steps for the snakeskin one, which I feel is nicer. I did have a pair of the black and white Noctis that they chose, and I like the sneaker. Like I think it is Drake's best sneaker to date because it's actually doing something that is a nod to the past with the Jason Kidd, but it's also doing something a little bit different. So it's like futuristic meets past, which is really cool. That said, I actually like sold it because I wanted to get the green pair, and that's going to come out next week, I think. So I like this silhouette, but it is nowhere near a top 10 sneaker. Not even close. Just I don't know if Drake like had someone from Complex or they dated or something like that and put it on the list, but nah, not a top 10 sneaker.
What about you, JP?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I like the meaning behind it, that it was a brand new sneaker and like a kind of a new silhouette that was available to the masses, and they brought in all these different colors. And I kind of feel that the Terror Squad was kind of easy to get if you really entered for them. Like, it wasn't a really difficult sneaker, especially over in the US. But yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think it should be a top 10 shoe. I think there were other shoes with a lot more meaning behind them that could have been in that top 10.
Yeah. Cool. Next up, we have the Baklava 990 V6, the Action Bronson collaboration. I think the only reason they're putting it in because they're friends with Action Bronson. That's the only reason why an NB got into the list. But what do you think, Ollie? I don't disagree. Like, I think the Baklava should be on the top 10, and you can hear it from the people in the panel, or in people watching the panel was like applauding and everything for the Baklava, which means they agree as well. What do you think, Ollie?
So I actually end up paying resale for this pair because I like it. It's very bright. It's very me. Like, it's just that that contrast between the brown and that highlighter green just really pops quite nicely, and that blue reminds me of a Yeezy 700 as well. So I quite like that sort of heel. I know one of the panels said she wasn't a big fan of how they bumped up the heel a bit, but I actually quite like that. That said, I do love that sneaker, but it's actually not my personal best SB of the year. So you've got to find out next week or the next episode to find out what my favorite NB pair is, but it's not the Baklava. But I definitely respect it, and I'm glad that it got a mention on the list.
Cool. What about you, JP?
Yeah, I definitely think it should be a top 10 shoe. I feel it had like momentum behind it. Obviously, Action Bronson was a new version of a New Balance silhouette, so the V6. I definitely feel like it should have been somewhere in the top 10. I think it probably should have been a bit higher, personally. Not that it was that lower to up towards 10, but I think it's a great shoe, but it's super hard to get. So that's probably a reason why it's up towards the 10.
They're actually easy to get now. Price on them are dropping, so you might want to look around, JP.
Maybe.
And the second pair, the
Lapis
Lotus
Lazuli.
pair? Yeah, that's
Lazuli.
even easier to get
Yes,
now.
drop
So.
Yeah.
mainly retail.
A little bit over retail, so and like always, I probably overpaid for that. I can't even remember. Next up, we have the AJ1 Low Travis Scott All It. I don't think this should be on the top 10. I think we're all tired of this, but I had one. I won one. I traded it for something that I wanted. So, what about you, Ollie? What do you think?
Yeah, so I paid resale for this pair because I'm a hype beast at heart, and it's just one of those pairs that it's a pair to flex, but it's not his best Air Jordan 1 Low by a long shot. I feel like the OG and the fragments are probably my favorite, but I feel like Travis Scott is basically carrying the hype with SB as well. But anything that Travis Scott touches, associated with Air Jordan 1 Lows or Air Jordan 1s in general, like I feel like they are sort of keeping up that buzz about sneakers, which is why, funny enough, it's almost looking like Travis Scott is like John Farnham in terms of like this is the last time tour, because every time he says it's the last time, it's not the last time. And
Yeah.
now we've got the olive mockers or whatever it's called coming out next year as well.
Yeah.
So
They keep milking
obviously,
it.
like, they're gonna milk it for all it's worth. But yeah, not the greatest Air Jordan 1 low, and shouldn't be on the list as well, I think.
Cool. What about you, JP?
Yeah, kick it off. I kind of feel that a sneaker that's just a different colorway shouldn't be in a top 10. That's been done multiple times before. I do understand that it's breaking records, but they are pushing a lot more pairs. And also, I kind of don't feel that a women's version of a sneaker should be on there as well. If it's not available for everybody up to all sizes, then I don't feel it should be a top 10 sneaker. But having said that, there's a lot of sneakers on the top 10 that weren't available in smaller sizes. But personally, I feel that the Phantom colorway, which I have, is better than the olive. It was a different colorway of a shoe that's come out that's a lot different to the other ones. So
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so where are we? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6, they had the 860B2 from Amélion d'Or. Again, they're friends with Teddy, probably, so they at least have to put it up there. To be fair, right? They're friends with Ronnie, and none of Ronnie's stuff is here, but I digress.
Yeah, where's the
yeah.
Chris Samba? Like,
Yeah, I know. Ollie, what do you think about the 860B2? Like, for me, by the way, this is probably gonna end up in my top 10 list, but what do you think, Ollie?
Yeah, I definitely feel like you need to have at least one Asics Tech Runner in there, and this is a very elegant pair. So yeah, I'm glad that at least Asics got one mention, even if
It's NB, by the way.
Oh,
Teddy
NB.
Santis.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah. So yeah, like at least like well, tech runners in general, I suppose.
Yeah, tech runners in general.
So,
Because that is the trend. And they had argument around A6 and 860B2. And then this is where you can see through DJ Clark. I know he's an OG,
I
but
know.
he kept
What about
bringing
the
up.
Romero?
Yeah, he kept bringing up Vomero. So you know already that he's not gonna change brands. But JP, what do you think?
yeah, I feel that at this spot, I feel that it should have been the Marvel Asics in this spot. I kind of feel that was a much more rounded shoe. The delivery around, like, it was super limited. It was hard to get, but I feel like the packaging, the card, everything should have been before this. And I kind of feel there were a couple better New Balances that dropped this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one, but I think for me it's because it's the tech runner vibe to it, and if you think about tech runners this year, I think it's definitely
100%.
right up there. So cool. Number 5, we have the AJ3 Baldwin. I agree with this one. I like the pair. I don't have it personally. I didn't chase for it. I didn't even go the resale route for it, but I kind of like it. So yeah, I think it deserves to be in the top 10. What about you, Ollie?
Yeah, I love it as well. Like, I feel like it's that perfect balance between his loudness and his brushness, but it's sort of been read in a bit as well. And some people say that, oh, it's just basically like a white typical Air Jordan 3 with a little bit of color towards the back, but just the storytelling behind, like, the packaging and the when you read the wrapping and all that, and like, you know, being the sunset, like, you know, when you sort of put it at the right angle, it really does feel like the sun going down as well with the heel tab and the way it all sort of plays together. So I like it. It's very playful, and finally, it took a while, but J Balvin finally has a pair that actually has critical acclaim, as well as like his take on it as well. And I mean, look, the Air Jordan 4 that he's cooking up is going to be amazing, I reckon. So I think he's found the right formula.
Unless he goes back to that Air Jordan 1 approach that he had before.
Oh, I imagine that the tongue's going to light up for the Air Jordan 4. That's what I imagine.
What about you, JP? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. That spot is like perfect for it. I like it how Nike gave him the opportunity to actually like use a Jordan 3 that not many other brands have been able to in the past. So yeah, I feel that it's really tastefully done, and I actually would prefer the black pair. So hopefully when that drops, if it drops, I can grab that.
I still need both. But anyway.
You need everything.
At, at number 4, we have the Air Force One Tiffany. Uh, I think I think it has a case to be on the top 10. I don't know if it's gonna end up in my top 10 list, but I'm not mad at it for being in the top 10. I know everyone's hating on this, but what do you think, Ollie?
Yeah, I feel like it's a pair that you need to have in hand to sort of see like the magic behind it, like and why it's significant. And it's one of those pairs as well that has a really interesting backstory with the whole like like Nike SB and Tiffany and all that. To have an official collab, and it's not as hyped as like the Jordan Dior's or even like Nike Air Force Ones with Louis Vuitton, but it's still a luxury brand with a street brand, and that has to be admired and applauded. So yeah, I think they just did enough on the sneaker to make it really Tiffany, but at the same time you have to respect how restrained it is as well. Like it could have been all decked out, and to be honest, I would have loved the Friends and Family pair to be the actual pair where it was all like Tiffany with the black swoosh. That would have been really cool, but I really like what they've done with it. So yeah, I can't complain. I definitely think it should be in the top 10.
Cool. What about you, JP?
Yeah, I'm on the fence with this pair because I kind of feel it was like the Dior's and the Louis Vuitton. Like, if it's
Out of reach.
yeah, it was super hard to get. It wasn't available for the masses. Oh, it kind of was, but it was just so limited that it was impossible unless you knew somebody there. I like the meaning behind it. I like how it's official, like collaboration with a designer. But like we know, like Adidas has done it better, and that was like available to so many people. And I feel if they did it that way, then it should be in the spot. But if it is going to be in the top 10, I feel it should be number 10. I think it should be instead of the Terror Squad.
That's it. That
Yeah.
That's actually good. And yeah, going back to that, they did put I think Adidas Gucci last year in the top 10,
Yeah.
which makes
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up, number 3, we have the Cortez Air Max 95. I'm not aware of this. I mean, I'm aware of it, but I don't care enough to know or dig up what this is about. So for me, personally, it's not gonna be in my top 10. I don't know in some circles how popular this is, but I know in Europe it's very popular, given that it's Air Max 95 as well. What do you think, Ollie?
Yeah, this is actually like a nice nod to everyone in the UK and Europe, because like I sort of been watching a lot of vids through Elliot Page and a lot of like UK sneaker YouTubers, and Cortez is quite big. Like I don't know if it was like featured a lot, but like I think they dropped random pairs in Paris or something, and the guy was like throwing these pairs, and there was like almost like a riot like scene of like all these people following this van, and he's just like chucking all these like
I think they did it in the US as well,
and then
right?
there was like, was it at the US as well?
Yeah,
Was it?
There was one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In New York?
and like their social media campaign, the way they released it, like that has to be admired. Like it's just they're definitely a brand on the rise, and it's kind of funny how like they went from like almost being sued by Nike to now working with Nike.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool. I feel this is kind of like the renegade days of this brand, and I'm really interested to see what they have in store.
What about you, JP?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it should be in the spot. I feel it's so good to have like a new collaborator, like built so much hype, and just the way they dropped it. Like I think it was the pink pair that was in New York that went nuts, and then the other 2 pairs was in Europe, like London, I think, Paris. But yeah,
Right.
but yeah, it was like awesome, like to see this happen, like, and then like just to see all like not the riots, but everybody just like getting so like passionate over a pair of sneakers. And yeah, the people.
They bring the energy back,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had leftover pairs because they saw a lot of bots were trying to like cop them, and so then they just had a second drop of I don't know which color it was, but yeah, they released a whole like another batch of pairs like online, first come first serve. So yeah, but they're so expensive.
That's good.
It's ridiculous how expensive they are.
Yeah. Cool. On number 2, they have the AJ3 White Cement. I don't think it should be on the top 10. I mean, it's reimagined, but without the backstory of the lost and found. I think at least with the lost and found, they had some story behind it. This one is just here's another one, but it's on the 3. What do you think, Ollie?
Yeah, look, I expect this to be in a lot of people top 3s lists in the Facebook Sneakerheads Australia group. And look, I respect it. I didn't go for them, but I'm really glad that OG people got a chance to nab them. It was kind of let down though by the QC. Apparently, it was really bad. Like you barely struggled to have 2 pairs that actually look the same, which was kind of like threw the release off. But you know, like I have to respect it. I don't know much about the Air Jordan 3 and its heritage and all that, but yeah, a lot of people really liked it. So,
What about you, JP?
I kind of get where they're coming from, but as you said, it has a heritage behind the pair, but just because it has a aged sole, like, should it really be in a top 10?
Yeah.
Like, I had it and I had a good pair, and I got rid of it because I couldn't see myself wearing it. But yeah, I kind of feel a lot of people would have voted it in their top 10 because they didn't have an opportunity the last time it dropped, and now they've got that opportunity to actually cop it.
Yeah, but satin breads came out this year as well. Like they might as well put that in there as well if that's their criteria, right? Like the Royals, they should put it up there.
But
it doesn't make any sense.
Again, I'm going to bring up J Tips. He's had 2 like awesome drops this year so far, and neither of them made the top 10. Yeah. And to leave out Saucony, like everybody loves that J Tips sneaker, the first one, and yeah, I just feel that should have been in the top 10 before this, personally.
Yeah. Cool. And their number 1, I think we all know about this one. This is the Sneakerhead, the Facebook group's number 1 as well.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, it's the Air Jordan 4 SB. I passed on this. I understand why people would put this on the top 10. It's not for me personally, but I respect it that it's a number 10. I don't agree with it being the number 1 sneakers though. So, Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I feel like it's you basically got like 2 of the biggest like silhouette / brands of like Nike come together, and so it was almost like perfect timing, that perfect storm. Jordan 4s are kind of on the way down. Nike SBs have always been steady, and this pair just seems to like capture everyone's imagination. And I guess the clever part about this was the fact that these were like I think Complex mentioned it as well, like skaters tested it for like 2 years, made sure that it was actually a proper skating shoe first and then the silhouette second, and they kind of made it much more comfortable. And Jordan 4s, even though I like Jordan 4s, they've always been that toe crusher, especially like you get like a pair that's true to size and a bit snug, but apparently it's actually like a lot more comfortable and a lot more wearable as well. So I guess it being the first color of a used silhouette, and I imagine that they're gonna pump many more colorways to come, so I suppose it's a historical moment. And I respect it as number 1. It's not too bad.
What about you, JP?
Yeah, I don't feel it should be number 1, but I think it's a top 5 shoe, definitely. As Ollie said, like, there is that story behind it being wear tested, and obviously their skaters gave their feedback to Nike to say, hey, like, we think you should change it in this way. And as Complex said, they should change all Nike Jordan 4s this way, like in a casual, like, because people aren't really
make it more wearable.
Yeah, make it more wearable. And I know we won't have that heritage of Jordan anymore behind it, but leave the like OG like colorways to like the original cut, and then have all the rest in this, and then make everybody more happy with comfortable shoes, which Jordans aren't really that comfortable.
Yeah, cool. And I think that's it. I think the biggest problem with that panel is like it's a lot of out of touch guys. I know they're prominent in the sneaker scene, but they're really out of touch. I think one of the YouTube comments, I kind of agree. It's like asking Marvel fan heads, Marble heads, what their favorite movie is of the year, and obviously they're gonna go with a Marvel movie, and that's what it's like. It's a bunch of Nike and Jordan guys, and you're asking them their favorite sneakers. And I get it. Like if someone asks me what my top sneakers of the year is, it's gonna be dominated by NB, obviously, because I'm an NB head first. But I think they need to put in more sort of like variety in there and more people that are open to other brands rather than. And I know DJ Clark is respectable, but come on, it's just all Nike for him. And then you have Lil Yachty, wherein it's that guy is out of touch. I don't think he, like I know he bought the J tips
Yep.
during the panel, but only because he's heard of it only then in the panel. And you have someone in the panel talking about top 10 sneakers who hasn't heard about like half of the releases this year, which is it's weird. Like I don't think they belong there. But anyway, cool. Moving on, we'll go local this time. As we know, the Weekly Drop has released their survey for Sticker of the Year. If you haven't joined yet, by the way, it's at stickeroftheyear.com.au, and you can win a 1,000 eBay voucher. And eBay is our friend, so go and vote now if you're listening to our 3 viewers. And yeah, I think let's go through the list and then see what you guys think about them, right? Let me just share my screen. Okay, so we have the Valbin Jordan 3, and I think we all agree that it does belong in the top 10 for this year. Don't need to elaborate on that. We have the Cortez Nike Air Max 95. I think we all agree as well with that one. One of the new one here is the Born and Raised. Let's talk about this one because this one is it's a bit controversial because of the death of Spanto. But what do you guys think? Should this be the top sneaker of the year? Ollie?
Look, I feel like this year, like I'm gonna keep repeating myself, but 2023 has been like a stellar year for Nike SBs. Like it's just unbelievable how many like hard-hitting collabs have come out this year. And in a given year, Born and Raised would have been number one just by a long shot. But there's so many other pairs in there. I mean, I don't know much about Born and Raised, but I know of them because of this sneaker, and I read up on the legacy of the sneaker, and it is brash, it is very out there, and it's very LA, and that's why I love it. So I'm glad it's definitely on people's like top 3 Nike SB lists, because yeah, when you put the pink laces on there, the bandana ones, it goes off. Yeah, so I love it. So yeah.
Cool. What about you, JP?
Yeah. Personally, it's like top 3 SB dunk of the year. I kind of feel like the tragedy, like kind of like, is pushing it up a bit higher, like in the top 10 sneakers of the year. There's that meaning behind it, and the way Nike pulled it off the shelves and then put it back in. Like, I was lucky enough to get them, and I really like them. But I don't think they're a top 10 shoe.
Cool. The other one is the SB4. Well, okay with that. What about this one? The Cecile Bansen A6 GT 2160. I think this is the women-only pair with flourishes for women, basically, and it is a women's sneaker. It looks like a women's sneaker. What do you think, Ollie?
If these were available in a US size 10, I would cop. But Above the Clouds had them, and it just got up to like, yeah, women's like 9 or men's 8.5 or something like that. So I couldn't wear them. I would love to get the I think they had like a pink pair, like that looked like it was almost like a dress shoe basically, but just done in that it was half dress shoe, half Asics. It would have been very interesting to wear as well. So if I could wear it, I would. But it's nice to see like a women's like sneaker on there, and there's been some really great women-only sneakers as well this year. So it's nice for it to be mentioned.
Yep. JP, what do you think?
Yeah, agree with Ollie. Like, it's a cool concept, but I'm not a huge fan of the wing over the top of the laces. But yeah, I think they're cool, but I don't think a top 10 shoe.
Yeah, I think there are other colors as well recently released for that, right?
Yeah, the pink ones are nice.
Yeah, I think there's also red maybe as well, perhaps, I think.
Yeah, one of those. Like, I don't mind them. I think it's great that there's like really women specific pair on the list, but are they top 10? I'm not sure about that. We have the A6 Gel 1130 Glacier. I think I'd bundled the Forest in here as well because they both came out this year. Definitely in my top 10 list, I think, this year. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, I do like the Glacier pair, but I feel like the Forest one was a lot more sort of wearable. But that said, when I got these in hand, I realized that it wasn't just like a all white sneaker. It was actually like a bit more gray. And they used that concept Glacier quite well because a Glacier isn't all pure white. It's also a little bit muggy, a little bit grey and muddy as well. So they've a pretty good job. But yeah, I prefer the Forest pair.
I'm still salty about how mine was shipped, but JP, what do you think?
Yeah, it's not in my top 10 this year. I just feel the Earth is the best out of all three, and I've got all three of them, so yeah, I just can't put a different colorway of an existing silhouette in the top 10. That's just my feeling.
Cool. Next we have Lorenz OG, Salomon ACS Plus OG. Ollie, what do you think?
Look, I don't know much about this sneaker actually, so but just looking at it now, I do like the color scheme. It looks quite nice. Sort of like that sort of vibrant sunset kind of vibes, a bit J Baronish. So yeah, I dig it, but yeah, not my cup of tea in terms of Solomon. So.
What about you, JP?
Yeah, I really like this sneaker, but I kind of feel that this pair was like a customization, isn't it? Or like, because I know that Lorenzo G, he only does like custom sneakers, and I don't think it's an official Solomon pair, if I feel right, if I remember right. But yeah, I really like it. If they brought it out like for everybody, I'd definitely buy it because I haven't got any Solomons yet, so I really like them.
Yeah, I think Salomon is I mean, they're really getting popular, and I think we should start seeing them on the top list this year. But yeah, yeah, I just had a quick look on this one. It doesn't look like it's widely available. I don't know why Weekly Drop added that in. Maybe someone liked them.
Yes.
The list seems a bit random. Next we have the Big Red Boot. Nope, I don't think it should be on the top 10, but it did. I respect the noise that it made. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, this is yeah, I love him. I love this because Mischief have done really well, like you said, like disrupting the scene and just being very random. And yeah, it's definitely a pair that I would definitely rock in a heartbeat for the Astro Boy vibes. So yeah, yeah, it's because
we just undies, right?
I've got a pair of these, but I haven't worn it yet. So I'm waiting for like a sneaker meetup, and maybe I might rock them. But I love them. They're just so wacky, and the kids know them. Like it's just it was a zeitgeist moment, and for a moment, like this was the biggest sneaker in the world. And even if it was for like 4 seconds, it was still the biggest. So I respect that.
Cool. What about you, JP?
Not top 10, but I like the splash that they made. I think the Gobstopper ones were a better shoe, personally. I kind of like the idea that you can like stand it all back and you get like a different shoe. But yeah, I respect what they did, and now they're bringing out all these different colorways, like so. And collaborating with Crocs as well. So
cool. Next we have the Pata FC Barcelona Nike Air Max Plus. Personally, I'm not into this. I might be at some point, but Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, one for the Pata fans, I guess. But yeah, not my cup of tea. So I don't have any Air Max or TNs or anything like that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit too westy for me. JP, what do you think?
Coming from the person who's out west.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think it should be there. I think there were better. I'm not a TN fan, but I think there were better pairs that dropped, and there were like 4 different pairs this year that looked exactly the same, like the same colorway. Like the anniversary one looked very similar, and I think there's a women's pair, and I think there was another one that looked so similar. So yeah, no.
I think there's a Cold Wall. I think is a much better
the blue one
choice over this one. Yeah. Action Bronson, we discussed that. What about this one? Ollie has this one, the Adidas Wales Bonner Samba, the shiny metallic one. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, this is my top 3. So I won't tell you where it is in my top 3, but it's it's a top 3 sneaker. It's the pair that I've worn, and it always gets comments and looks, and just I love it. Like Wales Bonner is probably like, I know Sambas are the it sneaker of the moment, but as much as we laugh at the GR-ness of it, the collabs for the Sambas this year have been like outrageous. Yeah. From Kif to like one Wales Bonner, even like Sporting Rich. Like it's just crazy. So these are great. I love them. So yeah.
JP, what do you think? Have you been bit by the Samba bug yet?
Not yet. I've only got actually one pair of Campus. But yeah, no. Yeah, I like them, but I think I've only got one space for a silver shoe, and that's the up there 1906 IUP. So that's the wildest.
I agree with that one though.
Yeah.
Next we have the Reverse Grinch. I don't think it should be top 10 personally, or top sneakers, but Ollie, what do you think?
So this is like the hypebeast sneaker of the month. This is the pair that like every second comment that I'm getting in the Facebook group is, when these coming out, is there a shock drop for these? I don't know if it's mostly because of the hype. I respect the hype. I respect the whole like Kobe legacy of it all, but unfortunately it feels like it's going to be muddled up in a situation where most people who will get this pair will resell them, which is a bit sad. And so it's kind of getting lost in the sort of like, I'm just buying them to flip them, or I'm just buying them to flex and then I'm gonna flip them kind of thing. So yeah, shouldn't be a top 10.
Yeah. JP, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I kind of feel a lot of people who get them aren't basketball players. They probably won't wear them, and they're just trying to get them because they've got a resale value, and that's riding on the coattails of the original Grinch, which I have, which I really like. But I kind of feel like most people don't like a bright red shoe, to tell you the truth. And it's like the association with people with red shoes, like more TN people like red shoes than Kobe's. But yeah, I kind of feel people will just buy it just to flip and buy something else. So not top 10.
Yep. Cool. Next we have the Jound 991s. It could be in the top 10. Well, for me personally, because it's New Balance, it's probably my top 10. Well, what do you guys think? Ollie, what do you think?
I still haven't been able to cop a 991 yet. Like the Pata one, what I was kind of tempted on, but
they're sitting right now. So
yeah, exactly. Like the laces are the best part of that sneaker, and that's not a good sign if the laces are the best part of the sneaker. I will eventually get there, but yeah, not this one. So yeah.
JP, what do you think?
Yeah, I've got them and I really like them. I think it'd be close to my top 10. When you have them in hand, the color looks different to what photos are, I feel. And you have to really have it in hand to appreciate them. And yeah, I kind of feel it's close to top 10 for me. I'm still undecided where it'll sit.
I think it's cliche at this point, the way people make fun of Jound, but this one's, I think, is right up there with some of their best collaboration releases, from the 992s, the 993s. I think it belongs up there. The other ones you can ignore, but yeah, I think they're great. I still want all of the Jounds though.
You've got the Reebok ones too, man. So you're into the Jounds for sure.
It's gonna be hard to get them completed. It's almost impossible now.
There's one pair.
Yeah, that's a unicorn pair. I don't think I'll ever find that one. But next up we have the Palace 991s. I don't know who put this here, but it's so random to have this on the list. What do you think, Ollie?
It's one of those retail or bust pairs. Like if it came up and I matched it for retail, that's great. Otherwise, yeah, not a pair I would chase, and not the best Palace collab this year as well. So
yeah. JP.
Yeah, I really like them, but I agree. I don't think they're a top 10 shoe. I've got them. I got them for retail, luckily. But yeah, they're nice materials, nice colors. I prefer that colorway over the black one and black and purple one. Yeah, not a top 10 shoe for me.
Cool. Next up, we have the Shrek Crocs. Also, another one of those, like, I think they're great, but they're not. Come on, they're not top 10 sneakers. or top sneaker of the year. Ollie, what do you think?
I think like quietly, like Crocs are slowly taking over like the sneaker scene from the kids up, because anyone from like say like 6 to like 14 are wearing Crocs.
Yeah.
And apparently at schoolies, most people are wearing Crocs, so the Croc wave is coming. I'm pretty sure there'll be a Jam Croc soon. Oh, actually there is.
They
isn't
did.
there?
They did.
Yeah, so there we are. So you might be
think
able to pop that.
It's a white. It's white. It's just white.
And on the
From what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love these actually. Like I got a pair of these, the Shrek Crocs. It's a meme at this stage now because Shrek's a meme, so this is a meme, but not the most memeable not the most memeable Croc this year though. The most memeable Croc is the Grimace Croc.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
The McDonald's
Yeah, it's good to see it on the list, but I think it's just there for novelty value's sake.
I do like them. So, JP, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a cool concept. I just can't get with it. I prefer the hamburger one.
Oh yeah.
Or you don't like your shoes to have nose, right?
Well, I've got the Salehi bright green one, so I don't need this one as well.
That's true. I do like the one that's recently released. It has that old man vibes, which is the Museum of Peace and Quiet. Yeah, I like those. Next up, we have the Songs for the Mute Adidas Campus. I don't know why they put Shadow Turf in here because this is a campus. I think personally it should be under consideration, especially here locally with our culture. But Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I actually prefer the Shadow Turfs, funny enough, because with the Shadow Turfs, I got the pair that came out like last year with that nice sort of burgundy. Yeah, so such a beautiful sneaker, and that was one of those like under the radar sneakers as well, because it was a kind of like almost like a U silhouette or an old take on a U silhouette, which is really cool. These canvases are quite solid, but in a year that's been dominated with a lot of canvases, it's not the best campus this year. I think the best campus this year probably would go to the Corn campuses. They really captured like the imagination of like the Corn fans, but also Adidas fans as well. But I do like the fact that this campus is distressed. It's got that nice sort of crepe midsole as well. So I do like them, but I feel like there's better campuses out there.
Cool. JP, what do you think?
Yeah, same what Ollie said. I like the Croptober better than these. I love like that novelty of ripping the paper off it and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I still haven't really dipped my foot into like this silhouette, like these in the Sambas and all that sort of stuff. So maybe next year we'll see.
Cool. Next one, we have the Sporty and Rich Adidas Samba. I don't know why it's here as well. Like Ollie said, there's a lot of good Sambas that came out this year, and this is not one of them. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I would rather have the Kith Sambas here. Even like the Fairwear Williams Human Race Sambas look nicer than this. So, I guess Sport and Rich are a brand that's hip and happening. So, and they kind of did sell out as well. So obviously, like the ladies picked them up and are rocking them. So, yeah, but yeah, not overshadowed by better Sambas out there this year.
Yeah, cool. JP, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually really like this colorway, but yeah, you can't really beat the Kith Clarks over this.
Yeah. Cool. And I think that's it. Let's not go through you guys want to go through the new silhouettes as well? Only like a few of them?
Yeah.
Let's go through it.
Yeah.
Adidas Harden Volume 7. Not gonna lie, I wanted to buy this one. This when I was looking for basketball shoes, and only because I have a 40% discount with Adidas. Other than that, there's no reason for me to rock this or flex this. And it's definitely not the silhouette of the year. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I really don't know much about like Adidas basketball sneakers, and even the Fear of God ones that recently came out haven't really set the world on fire as well. So yeah, no.
Cool. JP.
Yeah, not for me. Yeah, I haven't really looked into Adidas basketball that much, so I can't say I know much about them. But yeah, yeah. As you said, if you had a 50% off voucher, you might think about it, but not for me.
And you need a basketball shoe.
Yeah.
But I don't anymore, so I'm not gonna spend my 40% discount voucher on that one. Next up, we have the A6 Gel NYC. I think this is a pretty strong contender. If I'm gonna choose from this list, it's gonna be the Gel NYC. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like looking at these, that would be my pick. And that particular pair, the watermelon pair, is a pair that is in my top 5 ASICs list. Like it's I love the blend of colors, and I'm glad that it's a silhouette that many people can cop because the GRs are just as good as the collabs as well. And it's a very definition of like ASICs tech runners. So yeah, I love them. So they're really cool.
Cool. JP.
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out to Jay from the Kickstand. This is his shoe. He wears it everywhere. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
This is, I reckon,
Oh, cool.
it's definitely a top 5 shoe for me. I haven't decided where I'm gonna place it, but I feel it's a great new silhouette. And Adidas ASICS did an amazing job, just like with the colorways and all the different colorways they've brought out since. Not just the collabs.
Yep.
I feel that they've just like brought out something for everybody. So, but yeah, the Gel NYC, like so comfortable, really well made, nice materials, and kind of got that tech runner vibe going.
Cool. Next, we have the Quantum Kinetic from ASICS as well. I like this one, but it's asking too much in terms of price range. I think they're pricing themselves out of this one, but I get it. The tech on it probably is expensive, but yeah, I think the Gel NYC beats this one. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, so I don't know much about this pair, but is this meant to be for like running performance? Is this one, or just as lifestyle? Lifestyle. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I like it's got like the heel on the back looks like Air Maxi kind of vibes there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, not for me this one.
I think it's full on gel.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why it's expensive as well. I think the Novalis is better than this one, but JP, what do you think?
I agree. There were better pairs out there this year, new silhouettes, but yeah, I really like these. I don't think I could fit them into my rotation, but yeah, I reckon they're cool. I prefer them over all the other silhouettes that have come out prior. So
cool. Big red boot. Let's go through this quickly, but we discussed it already. Probably not. Ollie, what do you think?
I mean, look, to be honest, like it shouldn't be there because this implies that they're gonna keep making them, and I hope Mischief don't. Like I hope the
I think
black
they do.
one, last one, and that's it. Do something else. Do like the bigger red boot or whatever, but don't keep pumping out different colorways.
I think
And
they're
don't
doing
would,
it.
bro, So
But they have the yellow one now, right?
isn't there a
yeah,
black
so
one?
so that's
one?
the second one with Crocs.
Isn't there a black one?
It was slightly different, and then they brought out like a black pair quite recently, and I hope
Yeah.
that will be the end of the big red boot range.
I doubt it is, but yeah. I did see one good use for them. I saw people putting cement on them and using it as a mold, as a table stand, which
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of as the leg of the table,
That's cool.
which makes sense. I think that's pretty cool. I might, yeah, if I can get them for cheap, I might do that. But JP, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a cool idea. Get 2 pairs and just fill them up with concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think it's for everybody. And yeah, they're just like, what do you use them for? Just walking around and or looking at. Yeah, it was interesting when they first came out. The price was super expensive, but then they crashed to the earth. But yeah, I don't think it should be there.
It's the definition of a sneaker that is just all hype and nothing else, like no substance. But yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up, I don't know why this is here because the V6 came out last year, if I remember correctly. So whoever's doing research on this one, you're definitely wrong. But Ollie, what do you think? I mean,
Yeah,
it's a strong
I-
year for the V6, but they
Yeah.
didn't come out this year.
Well,
So-
I always say I don't get sneakers unless they're hype collabs. So this year I got 2 V6s. I got the Ashley Bronson one and the Carhartt one. And the
Oh,
Carhartt
yeah.
one I love because that colors it makes total sense. It's the
Yeah.
perfect definition of what a collab should be like. So I love that pair as well. So
Yeah. Even without Carhartt branding on that one, that will be dubbed as a Carhartt 990 V6.
Yeah,
You know
it'd be
what I mean?
dubbed that as-
So-
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. JP, what do you think?
Yeah, as you said, it shouldn't be there because it's a last year's shoe, but yeah, I think it's still a great shoe, and all the pairs that have come out this year have been really nice. I've only got one pair which I really like, but yeah, I think it's a good shoe.
Oh, you have the MSG Rangers,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Cool. Next up, the New Balance Warped Runner. I have this one. I don't think it should be the silhouette of the year, but I haven't regretted getting them yet. So I don't know. Down the line, I might start regretting why I bought them, but I think they're fine. Ollie, what do you think?
Yep, I'm just waiting for the right collab to come along and sweep me off my feet, and I will cop one. So whether it's going to be Atmos or maybe it might be like Hell or Above the Clouds. But yeah, I can't wait. So it eventually will be there when the hype collab kicks in.
I think someone will play with the materials, the change of materials on this one, and make it actually work, and that would probably hype it up. JP, what do you think?
This actual silhouette reminds me a lot of the sneaker down the bottom, the Vaporfly, and Nike brought out the Street Fly, which was like a similar silhouette like years ago that had a kind of same aesthetic of like a runner, tech runner slash long distance runner.
Lifestyle?
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah, sort of shoe like that. There was another colorway that came out, like a blue one, I think. Was there?
Yeah, there's a blue and black. There's a brown one now as well.
Yeah,
I think.
I like the
brown
blue
and
one,
black.
but I don't think it should be new silhouette of the year.
Cool. Next up, we have the Nike ACG Mountain Fly 2 Low. I like this one. I've actually been looking at this one, and I might end up copying one, but not a silhouette of the year. But this is one of the first Nike probably this year that caught my attention for some reason. I don't know why, but I like them. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, look, it's really great to see Nike really push into like their ACG kind of like sort of range and trying to chase after Solomon in that regard. But yeah, not a sneaker for me, this one.
Yeah, that's what Nike does. Just steals the market if they can. JP, what do you think?
Don't know much about this, so I can't say much about it. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I won't say much. Yeah, I don't think it's for me. As Ollie
It's
said,
core.
yeah,
Basically.
it's
Yeah,
not that
yeah.
kind of a Solomon slash a trail running sort of like look to it. Yeah, it wouldn't be for me. I guess it wouldn't be for the masses. Go on sale soon, I guess, if it isn't.
Cool. Next, we have the Nike Ja 1. I like this one. I don't mind it as well. Listen to me liking Nike stuff, but yeah, not silhouette of the year, but I don't mind them. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, the only times I ever see this silhouette is on like Facebook resale pages because they're always trying to sell like the zombie ones, and it's funny seeing they're like $400 to like 300 to like 250 to like, oh, okay, this is a brick.
Like
okay.
retail.
But yeah, look, I don't mind it, but yeah, not for me, this one. So yeah.
JP, what do you think?
I think just it got hyped because of the notoriety behind Ja. But yeah, I kind of
The
feel
name,
that the Booker.
yeah.
Personally, I think the Booker is a nicer looking shoe silhouette.
I was about to ask you that. Which one would you pick?
I think
the Booker.
I think
or
the
this
Booker.
one?
I think that orange first one was like the nicest out of all of them.
Cool. Next, we have the Nike Zoom X Vaporfly 3. Yeah, I've run on the first one. I don't mind this one, but I think there are better plated pairs since then. Ollie, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I don't mind it in terms of like the silhouette of it all, but when it comes to running, I'm always Ultra Boost all the way, so that's me. I'm a Adidas man.
JP.
So I've run in the first and second version. The second one was like a really nice shoe. I really like it, but again, it's a shoe for a purpose, and I don't think it's for everybody. Like a person shouldn't buy it for a casual shoe. It's only made for like a race day shoe or training
Yeah.
to get towards that race.
It's an event day shoe.
Yeah, but I feel like they do improve it every time they release it. But as you said, there's a lot of other brands out there now who are doing really good jobs on
Yeah.
shoes. And that I forgot the name of the Adidas one that came out for the marathon shoe. That like
The $500 one.
yeah, I think that
I think it's the Adizero.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's the one that's very very light that
Yeah.
you can only run on them twice.
yeah, like 80.
Yeah, and then that's it.
Yeah, but I feel that that shoe is a better as a new silhouette compared to this because I feel that they've changed an existing silhouette obviously throughout the years when they've released these. So yeah, I kind of feel that that one's a better option for this list.
I think this is the weekly drops fault.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why they just slapping random shit in here
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
putting it as silhouette of the year. Next we have the Puma MB03. Ollie, what do you think?
I respect it for the fact that for like 5 seconds, Puma were the hottest brand in the world, and people were lining up outside Puma stores, and Puma staff
Yeah.
were taking photos. Look, we got a hype sneaker for once. But yeah, look, I respect it, but yeah, I'm not for me. So
Cool. JP, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I kind of feel if you're using for a basketball shoe, I guess it's a good option. I'm not really up to date with all those, but I really like that gold pair that they brought out. Actually,
yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Cool. And I think that's it. My bet on this one will be the NYC, and I'm hoping the NYC will win.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we sign off, what do you guys think about this year? I mean, is it the same as the previous year in terms of like coming up with the top 10? Because personally, I find it hard because there's a lot of good ones, but there's not a lot of great ones that you can actually collate and put into a top 10. What about you, Ollie? How do you feel about this year's top 10?
Yeah, look, I must admit though, like I think I'm similar to you, man. Like, there's a lot of good sneakers, but there hasn't been a lot of great sneakers. Like, I must admit, like the top 10 that I'm forming for this year, will not be in my top 10 of the last decade. If that makes sense. I don't think there's anything significant this year that really came out. It was a bit of an average year in terms of that. Of course, that said, it is also a great time to be a sneakerhead, so maybe the hype's died down, maybe people have moved on, and that's kind of maybe led to like some of the brands going through some of the motions. But yeah, I feel like it's been an okay year. But for me, I'm probably like leaning towards the joy of wearing these sneakers. And so it's not necessarily about the hype, it's just like the joy that I get when I wear these sneakers or the comments that I get from wearing the sneakers. So that's gonna basically dictate the order of my sneakers as opposed to like the storytelling or even like the hype behind the pairs this time around.
And I think we have the luxury now to wait it out a little bit. Whereas the previous year, you gotta do a kicking it with G, wherein you cop now and decide later, sort of thing. But,
President Donald.
Yeah.
There you go.
what about you, JP? What are your thoughts about this year's sneakers?
I feel that this year they've pumped out so many sneakers that all the sneakers are becoming like on the same playing field. There's like a middle tier and then there's like everything that's subpar. I kind of feel there's been some standouts this year out of all of them, and I'm really like loving the Asics, the Resurgence and the GT 2160s that are coming out. So personally, I feel like the top 5 shoe is the up there, so not up there, above the clouds.
Above the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really
Yeah.
feel like that resurgence of like tech runners has changed like the game a lot. But yeah, I kind of feel it's interesting a year when Jordans are sitting and nobody's really wanting them because there's just been so many Jordans in the last 3 years and people want comfortable shoes. So
Yeah, I don't think it's not about it losing the hype. I think the hype is still there, especially with the OGs. It's just that it's not. People don't want a Jordan 1 already have like 2 or 3 pairs of them, and if they keep pumping them out, obviously it's just the demand's gonna go lower and lower. So I don't think that's the case there. Because the past few years, it's just like the amount of Jordan 1s we're getting is ridiculous.
Crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So I still have a lot that I can't even get rid of. So that's how bad it was. But yeah, I think that's it. And for everyone that has gone this far, we're gonna be doing our top 10 next week. Hopefully, we get to do it in a bigger group. I guess one of the things that you have to consider when you're making a top 10 is like our personal criteria. So you guys coming up with your top 10, I would advise like having that sort of like criteria of why things are in your top 10 before we begin, because everyone has different type of top 10.
Yeah.
And we look at sneakers differently, each and every one of us. And yeah, Ollie, any closing words?
My top 10 might change if I hit on the Powerpuff Girls. It's really annoying because the Powerpuff Girl collab is happening mid-December, and so I'm holding off on making my vids for the top 10 because it could sweep in and be a top 3 sneaker. Like I've got a feeling it might be at least top 5, but I won't know for sure. So fingers crossed that I get W's for next week. But I'm really excited actually. It's gonna be pretty cool to be able to see if I can get them all or at least get one. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's like last year. I think the Tetarik, the A6 July 3 released late December, and then the Alma Manier 4 as well, I think was late December, so it was hard to decide back then.
Yeah.
But JP, what do you think? Any parting words? Sorry.
Yeah, just back to what Ollie said, like obviously you got the J-Tips that drops next week on the
Yeah.
12th.
Yeah.
12th. So it's like one of those pairs that should we count that next year, because it's like December never gets counted because like everybody always does it before that. But yeah, thanks to everybody who's watched this and obviously comes onto our lives every Tuesday night. If you don't know, it ends tonight, which you'll see after this obviously gets published. But the eBay vouchers giveaway, we're giving away 4 $50 vouchers. And what the Soul Kitchen crew doesn't know, we're gonna like randomize, put into a poll, and we're gonna ask you guys for your opinions on who should get the vouchers, and like with no name next to it. And then if there's a tie, then it goes to like bonus, because people answered bonus questions, and then if there's a tie again, then it'll be a blind vote between me and Hendo, who gets it. But yeah, really thankful.
That's a good system.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, it's good that eBay's jumped on board and giving things away. And obviously we've got some other people who are going to be giving us stuff for next year. So stay tuned. But yeah, big things to come for Soul Kitchen next year.
Cool. And I think that's it for tonight's show. And thank you for sticking with us. And I know we don't do this regularly, and we're not going to promise to do it regularly because, you know, life gets in the way. But we'll do it as much as we can. And if we get people on, we'll do it. And we don't want to be doing it every week as well and run out of things to talk about. So I think this is the perfect time to start doing some of these shows again. And hopefully we see you again next week for our top 10. And good night and thank you.
Thanks, guys. Catch you later.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.